Hello. We watched the John Deere Classic last week. This week is the Genesis Scottish Open, but right in the middle, that's where you find us. Welcome back to Making the Turn. Now, you may notice my esteemed co-host is not here with me today, so we're going to see how this goes, but it's just me today, and let's get straight into our recap of the John Deere Classic, which turned out to be a lot more exciting than I expected. We had one of my favorite golfers on this planet pull it off on Sunday, Chris Gotterup, Gotti, whatever you want to call him. We've talked about Chris Gotterup a lot in the past year. I believe he now has 4 wins in the past 365 days, tying Scottie Scheffler. And he's just kind of an enigma. He's not the most, not the most attractive golfer, as in his swing's kind of ugly and he hits it way right of where his feet are aligned, but he knows how to get it done when it comes to Sundays. I believe this is now his 3rd sub 65 round on a Sunday to close out a tournament this year. I believe that was at the Sony Open, the Phoenix Open, and of course at the John Deere Classic at TPC Deer Run. He shot a 62 on Sunday. It could have been lower. I was telling Toby, actually. I was texting him throughout the round. Gotterup had a 4-footer on the front 9 in the middle of his birdie run, which would have got him, I think he would have shot a 29 in the front had he made that. So it's just a really incredible scoring capability on Sunday from Gotterup, where not a lot of guys are even able to put together an even par round on Sundays. So we did see Gotterup pull off the win, and unfortunately it came at the expense of Ben Coles, the Korn Ferry Tour grinder. Coles had a 3-stroke lead at the turn over, I believe this was Gotterup, Glover, and Hodges at the time. And Coles he was flushing it all week. His putter was going very well. And he looked up at the leaderboard at the turn, and he saw his name up there, and he saw Gotterup charging and Homa charging. And he was playing with Glover and Hodges, so he knew what they were up to. But he kind of had a control over this tournament. 3-stroke lead, like I said. Obviously, Gotterup had fewer holes left to play than he did himself as he was in the final group. And Gotterup post 20 under, and Coles could not get it to the clubhouse at 20 to match. In fact, he actually got it to 18 under in the clubhouse, because on the 18th hole, Coles is at 20 under, as he had birdied the par 3 16th, parred the par 5 17th, steps up to the tee, tied for the lead, needs a par to get into a playoff with Christopher Gotterup, stripes his tee shot right down the middle of the fairway, and at this point I'm thinking, we have a playoff on our hands. Gotterup's on the range with his brother, who was on the bag this week, getting ready for a playoff. Cole steps up 175 yards out, water left, and the story writes itself. Hits the ball in the water left, takes a drop, actually gets it to drop on the green for his 4th shot for his par, and puts it to 2 or 3 feet, misses that, which actually costs him $300,000 or $400,000, gives Homa the solo second. And I do have to shout out Toby for the Homa call last week. We both just did 1 outright last week. I believe I had Michael Kim, and Michael Kim crashed and burned, missed the cut at the John Deere. Toby, 1 bullet, Max Homa, solo 2nd place. I was really just cheering for those 2 guys this past week. Gotterup and Homa, that is. A couple other notables. Lucas Glover had the Friday night lead because his putter was unbelievable the first 2 days, and then cooled off on the weekend, so he gets a T3. Good to see for the 46-year-old. I was never really expecting Glover to hold on and win this, given the Friday night lead. Jackson Koivun, a very encouraging performance to see him continue his good ball striking. He does need to learn how to close out tournaments, or at least play better on Sundays, which just comes with experience. As many golfers we know struggle with these Sunday performances, whether or not they're expected to win before the day starts. Still, you're going to have to play well on a Sunday, especially at a birdie fest, to even have a chance at putting your hands on the trophy. Blades Brown, another solid performance, a T12 this week. I believe that brings him to 4 straight top 20s when he does get his chance to play on the Big Boy Tour, but not on this leaderboard, or at least on this screen. two of the bigger names, Jackson Koivun and Ben Griffin. Well, I guess I'll start with Griffin because Griffin makes a quad on his third or fourth hole of the week on Thursday. And I'm like, oh boy, he's not even going to make the cut as the tournament favorite. He does figure it out. I think he shoots 6 under the rest of that round on Thursday, makes the cut, and I think he finished 23rd, 24th or something. Obviously, if you give that quad back to Ben Griffin, he pars that. He's definitely on this screen as we see here. But the main story of the week, other than Chris Gotterup getting his third win of the year, is the Jackson Koivun miscut. I mean, he was the third favorite to win the tournament. He actually hit the ball pretty solidly. I felt like he had a lot of looks at birdie. None of them fell. Made an eagle early in his Friday round to give hope to make the cut at least. But he fell short. You can now see Jackson Koivun as the favorite this week at the ISCO Championship, which is in Kentucky, I believe, on the side of the Scottish Open, or it's like the small event, dueling the Scottish Open, which is the PGA Tour, DP World Tour kind of combo event. But yeah, that was a exhilarating finish on Sunday at the John Deere. I mean, what can you even say about Chris Gotterup? He just has that Sunday clutch gene, and when he's walking, he was 2 strokes off the lead, 4 or 5 holes left, playing a long par 4, hits his tee shot right, which is death on the hole. I think this was hole 15. Hits his tee shot right rough. It's behind trees. The entire fairway and green slopes right to left. And he hits a stinger through the trees, like through a little kind of goalpost. It does go long, like it lands short of the green, rolls over, goes long, and then he has to get up and down to keep his round bogey free and keep his name close enough to Coles to cause some stress to him. Gets it up and down, hits it to like 3 feet out of the rough, flop shot, keeps his round going, makes a 15-footer at the par 5 17th to get to 20 under, and that was all he needed. But yeah, I'm expecting Chris Gotterup to be a household name the next 5-10 years. I mean, this season's not even over. He didn't even have to do that much this season to keep his name in people's mouths. After winning the Scottish Open and then the third place at the Open last year, that was enough points to keep him or secure his tour card for years to come. But then he goes out and wins the Sony. I think that was the first event this year, maybe, or the second after the Amex. Wins the WM Phoenix Open on another Sunday afternoon comeback. And then he does the same thing here. He's a force to be reckoned with when he is feeling his swing. And I don't see any reason why he can't go out there at the Scottish Open and defend this week. I don't think he'll have winner's fatigue because it was the John Deere. It's not like he grinded it out on Sunday, but it's not like he felt the pressure of trying to win his first major or something. I don't see any reason why he can't go and get it done this week at the Scottish Open. That win this past week does bring Gotterup to 5 career wins and world number 7. Similar to Windy C, I think we're seeing huge leaps when these guys continue to play well for month-long stretches. Huge leaps in their world ranking. I think we now have Gotterup at world number 7, Wyndham Clark at world number 8. Chris has got 8 top 20s this year. It's stellar golf, and it's not like top 20s where he's getting 17th every time. Obviously, he has a fair share of T11, T12s, whatever, but 3 of those top 20s are wins. Like, he's getting it done when it comes to crunch time. He's making almost every cut this year. And like I said, he has those 3 sub-65 Sundays where that's pretty rare. I mean, Birdie Fest or not, whatever course he's playing, he knows how to move his ball on a Sunday and stay in contention, win tournaments. It's very impressive. That being said, let's make the turn to the Genesis Scottish Open at the Renaissance Club in North Berwick, Scotland. It is a par 70, 7,300 yards. We do have a 150-man field this week with a cut, top 65 and ties. And it's the PGA Tour and DP World Tour kind of combo event where we do see a lot of the DP World Tour grinders as well as the best PGA Tour players, tee it up together the week before the British Open, the Open, whatever. And yeah, I guess the big story of the week is there are 4 or 5 live players teeing it up. Jon Rahm, Tyrrell Hatton, David Puig, and a couple others teeing it up this week because they paid their fines to the DP World Tour and are allowed to play this week in a PGA Tour sanctioned event. So really exciting stuff. Obviously, the future of golf is everyone playing together, as it is pretty clear that live will not exist in a couple of years. So yeah, we're going to see those guys tee it up. DP World Tour, PGA Tour, live guys all at one event, not a major, and it's going to feel like a major because there's a cut. All the best players in the world are teeing it up. A little bit about the Renaissance Club. You can spray your driver just about anywhere, which also means the guys that are longer off the tee have the advantage, as they can bomb their driver wherever they want and then have a wedge into most of the holes here. The greens are a bit slower and different to many of the PGA Tour tracks we see throughout the year. So it is a little bit of a different putting profile. And obviously to win and contend at the Renaissance Club, you are going to have to make your fair share of putts, but the greens are slower. And some guys just tend to putt better than others on these greens. Let's get into some of the guys playing this week and how they're going to be expected to play this week. So, of course, Scottie Scheffler, world number 2, as Toby and I have made the big call that we're bumping him down in our rankings to number 2. There is a new world number 1, and his name is Matt Fitzpatrick. After the, the calamity that Scottie Scheffler made on the 18th green in the playoff on Monday at the Travelers, I guess this was 2 weeks ago now. You can't miss a 4-footer in a playoff to maintain your world number 1 status. You just can't. So, that being said, we have upgraded Matt Fitzpatrick in our making the turn model to the world number 1. And I am expecting Matt Fitzpatrick to win this week, if not next week at the more important Open. But back to Scottie Scheffler. He is obviously going to contend this week. I believe last year he hit the ball great, finished 8th or 10th or something, but couldn't make a putt to save his life on these greens. So if he figures out the greens, he'll be in contention. If he doesn't figure out the greens, he'll finish 8th. Rory McIlroy, I believe, has the greatest strokes gained in course history of anyone ever at the Renaissance Club. He just gained strokes to the field, I think 2 or 3 around for his entire career at this course. Expect Rory to play well this week, especially as his Open prep, I guess, comes to a conclusion. Jon Rahm, I think there's big implications here. If he can get the win at the Scottish Open, there would be no question about his future, as I think that would grant him the 2 years on the PGA Tour because of the win itself. So kind of an added incentive there for Jon Rahm. Tommy Fleetwood, I could see Tommy Fleetwood putting together a good 4 rounds this week. He does tend to play well at the Renaissance Club, I believe. Yeah, T11. Wait, no. That's the U.S. Open. He does have 2 top 10 finishes at this course. That was in 2022, 2023. Pretty tame the past 2 years at the Renaissance Club, but Tommy has been trending recently, and I could see him staying in contention this week. Xander, Oberg, don't really love either of them. They haven't really shown the upside to really go out and win a tournament this year. Oberg's definitely cooled off from his top 5 streak he had going for a while. But then you get into this range of golfers: Chris Gotterup, Tyrrell Hatton, Justin Thomas, Minwoo, Wyndham, and they all suit the course pretty well. They hit the ball far, and when they have their approach weeks, they play well. I don't know what to think about this loaded field and who really has the upside to go and get it done. I know Minwoo Lee has won this event before, but he's just been so incredibly bad recently. Let's pull this up. Missed the cut at Memorial, missed the cut at the U.S. Open, 62nd out of, 70 players at the Travelers. I mean, it's mostly the putter, as you can see, that's let him down, but I don't know if I can trust Minwoo Lee to get it done at the Genesis this week. But you know who can get it done this week is the Højgaard, the better of the two Højgaards, Nikolai. Nikolai Højgaard has 2 top 10 finishes at this course, including a T4 last year. He is a bomber. He's not accurate, but it does not matter at this course. Højgaard should be able to hit the ball around here very well. And if he has one of his approach spike weeks, which he has pretty often, and then he putts to a 0, I don't see any reason why Højgaard won't be in contention this week. That being said, let's see how I am going to be attacking this week with the blueprint. And I do have 2 picks from Toby as well. He texted those over to me just now. Just a couple of outrights for Toby, but we'll start with my matchups. I am going to Tom Sim at -115 over Bud Cauley. Tom Sim does tend to play better overseas. The main deficiency in his game is the putter, and he does have good course history putting in Scotland, England, whatever. And so I think that will be, if he putts to a 0, putts positive this week, that'll be enough with the rest of his game kind of trending right now with approach. I think that'll be enough to get him the victory over Bud Cauley. No disrespect to Cauley. Obviously, Cauley has won this year, but I do like the course fit a lot better for Tom Sim. Nikolai Højgaard, as I just said, over Patrick Cantlay. Cantlay hasn't played this course very well. I believe he missed the cut last year here, and Højgaard finished 4th. You're giving me plus 100 for Højgaard to just do what he does best, bomb the driver, hit wedges close, and try to make a putt. But I think he'll be able to beat Patty Ice this week. 2 finishing positions, like I said, world number 1, Matt Fitzpatrick, finishing top 20 this week at even money all day. I think Fitzy will go out and do his thing, just gain in all aspects of the game. And if his putter gets hot, he might just win this thing. Rory, like I said, gains 3 strokes to the field per round at this course, and that is enough to pretty much, write him down for a top 20. Hopefully he can get the top 10 upside I'm looking for at plus 130, but Rory loves this course. Obviously finishes 2nd here last year to Chris Gotterup. Not much else to say there, but that does bring us to the outrights for the week. I will start with Toby's picks. He does like Minwoo and Xander to win outright this week. We'll see how that goes for him. Obviously, Minwoo has won this event before, but he has been trending pretty poorly recently. So we'll see if Minwoo can have a positive putter week and see where that gets him on the leaderboard. Xander, I don't know what to say about Xander. It's been kind of an exhausting season for Xander fans. I'm not a Xander fan, but don't mind him whatsoever. I just don't kind of understand what he's really working on in his game. It's pretty much the same thing every week. He hits the ball better than most people, but not well enough to actually contend. So we'll see what Xander does the rest of the season, but those are Toby's outrights for the week. I am going for Tommy Fleetwood and Nikolai Højgaard to win this week. 2 very opposite players. I think Fleetwood's just been trending very well recently. I know I am contradicting my Fleetwood stance of he can't actually win tournaments or full field events. So I am breaking my rule this week of never backing Fleetwood. But I do like Fleetwood to get the job done this week. I think he'll hit a lot of fairways, which is not required at this course, but it can't hurt. And we'll see Fleetwood at the top of the leaderboard come Sunday night. Or I guess Sunday afternoon in Eastern time, because they are overseas this week. But my favorite play of the week is Nikolai Højgaard to go out and win this tournament. Like I said, T4 last year, bombs it off the tee, has approached spike weeks, and if he can just putt better on these greens that he should know a little bit better, at least growing up in Europe, he should putt a little bit better, and we'll see him hopefully battle it out with some of these big names in this tournament. I was really excited to see Brad Dahlke contending I guess, contending the first 2 days at, I guess, the German Open. Dalkey got in off a sponsors exemption, and he was T2 after the first 2 days. Obviously made the cut. Didn't play his best on the weekend, but it was good to see quote unquote YouTube golfer play very well in a real professional golf event. So shout out to Dalkey. Hopefully he can get a couple more sponsors invites. The DP World Tour was promoting Dalkey a lot throughout the week, so hopefully he can get a couple more sponsors exemptions. Obviously he does have the Good Championship coming up, which Toby and I will touch on another day because that's just an insane sentence to even utter. But yeah, that does do it for this week. Thank you all so much for watching the Making the Turn pod for the week. Looking forward to the Genesis Scottish Open. It's one of the better, I guess, non-signature, non-major events of the year, if not the best. Great field, obviously. We'll have a nice event to watch with our morning coffees. And then the week after, it's the Open. Big pod next week. Toby will be back. Of course, we'll do an extended episode for the fourth major of the year. Looking forward to that. Looking forward to having my co-host back. Thank you all so much for watching. We are on Spotify, Apple, YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok at Making the Turn. We will see you next week for the British Open. Thank you all so much for watching. Peace.